Yeah, I said it, Jumbo. What, are you gonna cry? Gonna cry? Then cry for me! On a more somber note, it is kinda sad how many guys think getting a GF will somehow make their lives better or something. I blame social media and society in general for making people think this. And honestly, it goes both ways, by the way, but I think it's more men who fall into this blind optimism. Like, guys, my life is terrible. I'm broke, I'm a drunkard, and a bastard. I hate myself and everything. But you know what? I know how to fix it. Going to therapy? Woman! Oh, okay, I guess. If I learned anything from the years of being with many friends, seeing online Discord, and actually seeing relationships in action, it's safe to say that really what most people want isn't actually love, but lust. They might say they want love, and maybe they do, but their actions typically show lust, I think. Really, once you take off the lust glasses, you really see the person behind the looks is typically just as much of a loser as you are. This is even more earth-shattering for guys. Like, guys, if you stopped being horny for just 1 second, you realize that Jessica is actually a bipolar emotional wreck with the intelligence of a donut. You'd also realize, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but women are like people too, right? They also have dreams, flaws, and hobbies. They aren't just this weird, untouchable, and unreachable thing. Nah, though that's really unfair. That's really a view just mostly held by incels, so I'm being a little unfair. Well, anyway, to add, by the way, you know what else is not untouchable? The like and subscribe button! Like and subscribe, you absolute potato! Really, what I'm saying, it's just kind of sad that there's so many people that need to be validated by another person just to feel, you know, okay. Like, they need their existence to be justified by another. It's actually kind of a little pathetic. No. Ace, the last video you made was already pretty controversial. And you said pretty controversial things. Don't insult the viewer. The urge to bait is too strong. Who cares? I think you're a sad loser, baby, if you need another person to live. Oh my god, you sad sack. Look at me. I'm the average person and I need a BF or a GF to feel like my life is even worth a single damn. Well, guess what, buddy? Maybe if you need a person to make your life worth a damn, it wasn't worth anything to begin with. Mercs, laugh at them. Laugh at their foolishness. Aww, and then the sad part is, even when you do get the girl or guy, you still somehow end up losing them because you're an insufferable scumbag. Because you have the subtlety of a falling piano. Because you're an unskippable ad if it were a person. Because your life is made up of footnotes because nothing ever interesting actually ever happens in it. It would be so funny if you weren't so sad. But there is still hope for you yet. Listen to me. Yes, me. You can trust me. I want the best for you. Truly, I do. I just had to get that nasty business out of my system because you made me do this, you know? You and your silliness. You and your over-optimism. For such sad sacks, believing a GF would actually fix you is rather, you know, optimistic, so I'm surprised. I can concede that being in a relationship does provide some respite, but, I mean, have you not heard the saying, like, love is a drug or whatever? It's that for a reason, you know? It just numbs the pain and don't make it go away, friend. So by chasing women, you're essentially chasing drugs, you fucking addict. So many addicts today, huh? Yes, it's a very common sight to see among people, and especially online. People who long for someone who understands them and loves them and stuff. Useless crap like that. As I said before, I think most people want lust. And that's not like a fucking, I don't know, Rick and Morty, like, kick. Don't you know love is a chemical reaction? So what's the point, right, Morty? No, I say this because I think what people need to realize, love isn't a treatment, it's a luxury. And when I mean love, I'm like, you know, as a luxury, I mean like in the form of love from a BF form. I think what most people need is just normal love and appreciation. I think most would be just genuinely happy with just that. So love basically from friends and family. Though even that, some people can't, you know, have, unfortunately. Some people just have shitty families. Others are bad at making friends. How sad. It's kind of a larger part of the lonely pandemic in general. And like, you know, with the male loneliness epidemic and whatever. But I'll talk about that stuff later in the video, you cutie patootie. For now, I want to talk about how you can take off the metaphorical rosy tinted glasses off your dumb face. New question, just out of the blue. That goth girl that you want, to be honest, do you think she's a stable person? When two people unite in love, they also inherit the problems and burdens of one another. And I mean, would you want to inherit her problems? What if the guy you want to be with has emotional baggage, perhaps trauma from a childhood incident that still haunts them to this day? Is that something you're ready to really endure and perhaps, you know, help them through? Like, I don't blame you if you say no, but the reality is, a lot of people have baggage that comes with them. And if you actually love a person, you know, to the point of that romantic fantasy or whatever, you'd probably realistically want to help them through it. If you really, you know, like them. Personally, I can't feel any love, so if anyone ever wanted me, they better offer me nuclear launch codes, and then I date them. Now, what I do with said launch codes are for my ears and my ears only. And in no way relation do the nuclear launch codes, you know, involve me bombing New York into the Stone Age or anything like that. Me hurting New Yorkers? Never. Nope, never at all. Anyways, I'm pretty sure the goth girl is also pretty lonely and wearing rose, you know, tinted glasses, which is also why she sees behind your shitty flaws. But then once you're together, you might start, you know, hating each other, either because of your personalities, beliefs, and if you start living together, because of your living habits. And sometimes things get really bad, like in relationships where a punch is thrown and abuse is dealt, and someone in the relationship starts hurting the other person. If you take abuse rates in relationships and divorce rates, it paints an unflattering picture about, you know, people and love in general. Most people don't really seem to actually like each other, and in many cases, downright hate each other. Personally, is a relationship even a relationship if someone doesn't get hurt? I mean, there's gotta be some spice, people. A little chicanery here, a little manipulation there, and finally some hitting. Hey, don't worry, she likes getting beaten. She's a masochist. It's why my girlfriend is always in my basement. It's a, you know, a kink thing. Relax, dark humor. It's called liberals. Anyway, women like to get beaten. It's in their DNA, you know? Dogs are bred over time to... actually, you know what? I'm not even going to finish that. Look, a common problem I see when people get together is that they get together way too fast, man. Like, geez, like sometimes a person will just look at the face of another and they'll go like, yeah, sure, let's get together. Like, when the other person might literally be Hitler in disguise. I mean, I know that because I'm the Hitler in disguise. Let me tell you a story so you understand what I'm getting at. I met this girl once. Well, actually, more like she forced me to meet her. And anyway, I could tell right off the bat, like in just a single day, that she was into me. And she was, by the way, I'm not guessing. She later confessed that she wanted me while her ass was high, so that was fun. And she was spilling secrets left and right, but that's a story for another time, friends. Anyway, without knowing basically anything about me, she literally asked me, you know, to go out to the Valentine's dance with her. She framed it like it was just gonna hang out, but I didn't buy that considering it was Valentine's Day and the dance, so I mean, she probably was going to use that as an excuse to get closer to me and attempt to either confess, you know, or hope for me to confess for her. I of course said no, because one, I'm lazy, too lazy to actually get out of bed and go, and two, I'm a sane human being and I knew her for like a few days. For all I knew, the bitch would have a posse waiting for me at the dance to rob and mug me. Well, my point is that her desire for me would slowly die as well. I clearly wasn't interested, but also because she learned more about me and my personality. Surprise, surprise, she didn't want to date a sociopathic prick who messes with people and, you know, is kind of obnoxious and mean. She rather liked me more as a friend, and I did too. And for my part, you know, I didn't want her because she was horrendously boring. And I felt like I dodged a bullet because, like, you know, while she was pretty, she was so boring. And also, she was very stupid. Girl didn't even know who Mozart was. That's how you know she had her head in the clouds. Basically, what I'm saying, my humble viewers, is that her affection for me early on was basically just lust. She just wanted me because I guess she liked how depressed I looked or something. But because I essentially forced her to see the, real me, quote unquote, she was able to determine that I wasn't for her. Simple as that. Take the damn rose-tinted glasses off and actually get to know them. It's not that hard unless the person is a sociopath who has created an entire personality just for you to mess with you. You know how it is, bro. I know I've kind of bullied, you know, people who are lonely and who need a GF or BF to even work, but like, it makes sense, you know? People wear rose-tinted glasses because they're so desperate that they have to. They could care less how a person is actually like, just as long as they can numb the pain for a little while. So long as the person can make them feel pretty things just for a little bit. Loneliness is a powerful hindrance, if you will, to many. And I'm sure all of you have heard ad nauseum about the male loneliness epidemic, and perhaps a little less about the female one, where more and more people can't find love and feel very, very alone and disconnected. And also are, in many cases, unable to form meaningful, like, friendships as well. I don't exactly want to go over why this is all happening. Long story short, it's social media, because of fucking course it is. Politics, gender norms, and the degradation of socialization, meaning people are forgetting how to actually socialize with one another. All of that beautiful stuff culminates into these epidemics in which are ripe grounds for incels and femcels to take root. Don't be mistaken though, dating has always been kind of this dumb because humans are dumb, and typically dicks do the talking before the actual brain. Also, COVID-19 did not help this situation at all. I've seen firsthand friend groups wither, people get depressed, and have heard all sorts of destruction during that time period. How queer! In the time period where everyone is suffering, I find myself having the most fun. Actually, I would say the pandemic defined me as a person. And with all that extra time, I learned like at least 15 hobbies and skills. Meanwhile, most people were at home short-circuiting and dying. Oh, the niceties of being antisocial. Mind you, antisocial and not introvert. He's not introvert. He's not introvert, friends. Stop with that misconception. God, I hate that word also. It becomes so quirky and stuff. Ooh, I'm an introvert. I'm so shy. But contrary to popular beliefs, introverts also need, you know, human connection. Just to a much lesser extent to normal people, and they like more control over social situations, which is why many introverts also suffered and felt scared during that time period. Antisocial boys, rise up, because we gamers hate socialization. Nah, not me, I lied. I actually love social interaction. I'm just too damn lazy to actually be bothered to go, you know, and do the social, you know, interactions. So really, I'm just lazy, not antisocial. Lazy. That's why I have so few friends. Yeah, I don't have many friends, you know, because of the loneliness epidemic. It totally wasn't because I cut contact with half of them, bullied a quarter, and then traumatized the rest, which of course caused them to leave me. Totally wasn't because of that. But that's just the me thingy. For most people, they just drift apart and don't know how to make, you know, new friends. And so some will jump to making love with others in a sad attempt to fill this hole inside the heart. Look, I'll say this. If you're having trouble making friends or keeping deep, meaningful relationships, then maybe, just maybe, crazy idea, maybe it's not a good idea to attempt to find a partner. Yeah, crazy, right? But just maybe you might not be mentally prepared or even have the energy to expend on such an endeavor. Might sound crazy, but that girl you're eyeing, how about you just try to be friends with her? Try to see beyond just a drug prescription and really attempt to understand that person and find out how they tick. Like I've said in, in my lying videos, people are like games. The moment you figure out how they work, the game becomes easy. That sounds a little ominous because, well, it is, but like, I mean, apply this thinking in a nice way. Isn't the advice always to marry your friends anyway? I think that's valid. Befriend first, see them as a friend, then you can make a move. Honestly, when I say these things out loud, they sound like common sense, but when I tell them to my friends, they look at me like I'm fucking Plato, like I'm Socrates of the modern age. Hopefully not, because I wouldn't want to be forced to kill myself. Anyway, if you don't like my proposals of friends instead of whores, then you really do just want lust, which in that case, just call a hooker. Male hooker, right? Because I know you're gay as fuck, Twinkie. You little Twinkie, you little gay femboy. Aww, it's okay, everyone knows. We're so excited that you finally come out of the closet. Yes, indeed. Come out of the closet. And I don't mean that metaphorically, but also physically. Like, I mean, if we want to take, marry our friends to the next level, shouldn't you just be gay and marry, bro? I mean, after all, your girlfriends and your best bros probably know the most about you, and if you're lucky, support and actually care about you, so why not just tie the knot? You may be wondering what my relationships have been like, and I have had a grand total of 0 dating relationships because I'm just not interested. Really, because I don't want to be tied down by someone. Ace is like a phoenix, soaring through the sky for greatness. It cannot be tethered by a wench. I have a grand ambition in life, an ultimate goal of destroying extremism across the world and restoring America to a more civilized operandi. And everything I do is in ultimate service to that very goal. It also leads me to, live a rather happy and fulfilling life. A life with actual meaning and purpose. A drive that gets me out of bed every day. The desire to succeed and to dominate. I think you know where I'm going with this. Stop chasing boys and girls. Chase ambitions. Chase world domination. Attempt to become the next George Washington. Attempt to become a great inventor, scientist, artist, writer, the greatest teacher, or anything, really. I promise to you, dear viewer, that the feeling of chasing a grand ambition is worth 1,000 love interests. Not only does it give you joy and a drive, but it drives you to better yourself, to become a better version, because a better version of you has a higher chance at completing a goal. It doesn't matter if you end up failing, that's fine, many fails their lofty ambitions. I may too, but I rather crash and burn at a blaze of defiant glory than just to be some other miserable motherfucker who is happy with their little GF and his little job and his little, insignificant world. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but shoot for the stars. Shoot for anything, really. It doesn't, matter who gets hurt. It don't matter what you do. It don't even matter if it ends up hurting you. There is nothing more human than to do the impossible. It speaks to a primal, guttural component in our very being. The best people in history were driven by lofty ambitions. So why waste so much time on shitty lovey-dovey stuff? People are but temporary fixtures in our lives, and you yourself will one day die. When you die, will all you leave behind are a sorry love life? I'm not sure about you, viewer, but I plan on having a very large Wikipedia article. It begins with an early rise. It ends with an assassination or execution. I have already started my grand story. When are you going to start yours?
Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies is the old song they say. If you really dream it, then you gotta believe it if you wanna make it true today. Ashes to ashes, little Rosie burns down. No one's making it alive. Hush is the fire that burns down the whole town. All she wants to do is survive. If she wasn't crazy, she'd go insane. Nevermore, nevermore. Jack fell down, but Rosie just laughed. She wanted that pot of her to die. He was always holding and pushing her back from who she truly was. Some say she's mental and some say she's not.